Well, Ethan, you've been here almost 2 years now. How do you reflect on your time so far?
Yeah, it's been interesting 2 years. I've never really been away from home, so coming, in January, I had to sort of settle in to a new environment, new place, new people, new faces. But it was good. Started off quite well, which I think was important to start off quite well, and I felt like I'd done that. So yeah.
Now, last season you won the Player of the Year. I always think that's a great accolade to have because it's actually from your peers, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just tell us how much that meant to you. You must have been very proud.
Yeah, everyone kind of says, like you just said, it's the sort of best accolade to get from your peers, obviously. Who doesn't want to get that? So I think, as you said, I was buzzing and delighted to get it, and it meant a lot to me, and I was very proud of myself, and hopefully I can emulate my season last year this season.
Now, of course, you've got a lot of experience in the SPL. You played a lot of SPL football. So may I ask you, what was it that tempted you to come south of the border and play for a League One club?
Yeah, I felt like I needed a change. I'd been at St Munn since I was like 4, playing in Scotland, and I'd been at that club all my life really, and I felt like I needed a change, and it was just a point in my career where I felt I just sort of had to make it. And I wanted to get on a new platform, a platform maybe eyes don't see up in Scotland as much as you see here, so I wanted to test that out and try and take myself to the highest level in England possible.
When did you start playing football? I mean, obviously you were raised in Scotland. Is it your dad that's Nigerian?
Yeah, that's Nigerian.
So you've got Nigerian descent. Is your mother Scottish?
Mother's Scottish, yeah.
So how did the football bug first hit you?
Yeah, it was actually my gran and papa, my mum's mum and dad. They're from Paisley, which is where St Munn is, so just a little town outside of Glasgow, 15 minutes away from my house. So I started when I was 4. I used to go to the old St Munn Stadium and mini kickers and stuff. And the head of academy at the time sort of picked me up, and I went straight into the under 8s. When I was 4, and sort of waited 4 years until I was 8, and then kept playing. Progressed there all the way till I came here at 21, and I signed my first professional deal there when I was 16 and stuff, and then went over to play 100 games. So yeah, the football bug was from my gran and papa, I'd say. They were local and they used to take me all the time when they could, and that's how I got into it.
And what an achievement to be playing in the Scottish Premier League. I mean, obviously up against teams that compete in the Champions League. Just tell us some of the highlights and perhaps not so lowlights that happened during your time in Scotland. I
mean, I beat both the old firms, so that was, for me, I support Rangers, so it's quite a big thing for me to beat both of them. As bad as it sounds, everyone wants to beat them, don't they? So it was major for me. I beat Rangers in the cup once, and I beat Celtic away from home. Sadly during COVID, so there was no fans. But it was always good to play against 2 top teams that I think would do a job in the Premier League. So I think if you come up against them and test yourself, and if you can handle that, you can handle most things, and up to the Premier League for sure.
Obviously now playing for the Imps here in League One. What's the sort of difference in standard and playing style, would you say?
Yeah, I would say apart from the top 2, it's probably a similar standard. If you put us in the Scottish League, I think you'd find us in the top 5 for sure, top 4 maybe. There's a few teams up there with big budgets that may be punching it below their weights, but I think it's a similar standard. I think down here is maybe a bit more faster paced. And then when you come up against the top teams, it's a bit more tactical as well. So it's different. You get a mixed variety of everything that you get in Scotland as well. So it's just all about a new platform, and it's exciting as well because you don't play everyone 3 times, and you play people once home, once away, which I find quite exciting. Different challenges and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. And what have you made of Lincoln City as a club, really? I mean, obviously a very passionate city. They love their football here. They've had some dark times. I remember them playing in the National League, but having that great FA Cup run, of course.
Yeah.
But the club wants to progress, don't they? And it's got so close to getting a playoff spot last year.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things you do well, before you come. They sell the club to you, and they tell you the aims, and, everyone can do that. But, here it felt, like it was real. And I think that showed over the past couple of seasons. We've got ambition to make the playoffs, so we've got ambition to finish in automatic. So I think this season we're giving it a right go again, and hopefully we go one step further than last.
Yeah, because fans get quite giddy when they get close to the playoffs.
So do the players, I think, as well. Yeah, I think the players get quite giddy because it's exciting. We were always remember when we played Oxford, we were checking the scores and seeing, are we close, are we in there yet, or whatever. And ultimately came down to the last day, and it was in our hands, and we just fell short at the last hurdle.
Yeah, because when you see Oxford, of course, playing the Championship every week, and they're not doing too badly neither. You were only a couple of points behind them.
Yeah, it was a team we beat, obviously 3 or 4 weeks before, and we beat them. We felt pretty comfortable in that game, and obviously they ended up going to win the playoffs. So it's an interesting game, football, but no, fair play to them. They deserved it, and they're doing well this season as well. So.
Yeah. Now, what would you say have been the highlights so far? I mean, obviously you scored an amazing goal, didn't you? First goal.
Yeah,
you must be pleased with that one.
Yeah, a few goals. Yeah, I came off an important equaliser as well. It set us on an unbeaten run last season at Wickham away. Around Christmas time, I was injured and then came back. I think I missed one game and then came back and scored that 97th minute equaliser. So that was a hell of a time to score. But that sort of set us on a run, and we didn't lose for however many games after that. So I'd say that's been one of the good moments. Derby away last season as well. Down to 10 men, we done well away from home. So there's been a few. Was that the first season I came? I think that was. So there's been a few good moments for me.
And of course, the most gutting moment must be the Portsmouth game.
Yeah, gutting moment has to be that last day, especially with it all being in our hands. It was no destiny. We had a penalty as well that we missed. So it was in our hands. But that's one that we'll hopefully use that to fuel us for this season.
Yeah, because that's right, isn't it? When you feel disappointment, you actually remember how terrible that felt. I always think the playoff finals are terrible because if you lose the playoff final, it's the best way to get promoted, but it's the worst place to lose. Just describe to me that feeling straight after a match like that, because it's the whole season hinges on those moments, don't they?
Yeah, I think even going into the last 5 minutes of the game, we knew that this was us. It was all coming down to this game. We couldn't win. And as time ticks, you try and keep belief, but as time you look at the clock up on the right and you're like, oh no, time's coming. And it was just, we all felt down after the game. We looked back, I think a couple of weeks later, and we could reflect, but at the time you're like, oh no, it was in our hands and we kind of messed it up or whatever. But in a couple of weeks time you look back, you're on holiday maybe with your family and friends and stuff, and you're looking back and you think, we had a good season, and it was just unlucky almost that we didn't do further.
Now tell me about the manager, a very popular man. He's had an extraordinary journey himself as a manager, isn't he, in terms of what he's achieved so far. What's it like working for him? Yeah,
it's good to work on these bit different maybe philosophies to other managers that I've had. He's a bit more new school, modern, shall we say. But he's good, he's very tactically good. I think the team's very well drilled. I think everyone that we play against says that. We're very well drilled. We know our job. And he's trying to implement different styles to us that still, 10 games in, 9 games in, is still coming into play. And we'll look to take that into the next few games. But he's a good manager and very good one to work under.
Now tell me, obviously you grew up in Scotland. Your dad was Nigerian, your mum was Scottish. What sort of values? Did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I've got a little brother. He's been out in Dubai though. My dad's lived in Dubai as well, my little brother, for over 10 years now, so they've been out there. He's 17, so he's growing up, yeah.
Did he like football?
No, he likes watching it because of me, and he likes playing FIFA, but he doesn't really play it himself. He's more of a runner, more of a sprinter, him. So
what sort of values did your parents instill in you when you were growing up?
Yeah, I kind of just grew up with my mum, to be fair. I was hard growing up in a single parent household, but she installed me to be pretty independent from young, and I think that stood me in good stead for today. I'm pretty independent and I don't mind being myself. I'm not one for craving attention or whatever. So I'm good at being myself and I deal with things myself and stuff. So I think definitely independence, and I was raised very well by my mum for sure.
And who were the sort of players that you looked up to as you were growing up as well?
I liked a few bigger names. I'd probably say Busquets. I liked a few at Sitman as well at the time. There was a few good centre mids. There was a few lads that playing up in Scotland just now. Kyle McGuinness, they were just a couple of years older than me, and I was seeing them. He was captain of Sitman at one point, but he came through the academy, so I'd seen them sort of make that step, and then I wanted to do the same. And Lewis Morgan got moved to Celtic as well, so and he played for Scotland as well. And I knew Kenny McLean, John McGinn had all came through at Sitman as well. So there's loads of players that had came through there, especially them two being centre mid. So obviously playing in the Premier League and stuff. So they were ones that you could sort of look at and you want to emulate, don't you? So there's pictures up in the training ground and stuff of like all the players and stuff. And I got a picture up. Someone sent me a video of it. My picture's up as well, saying that I'm a graduate and stuff. So that was a proud moment for sure. So tell me about your ambitions. I mean, obviously you are an ambitious lad. You want to progress. You want to play at the highest level. This is a fantastic place to learn your skills, isn't it, at Lincoln? So what are you hoping to achieve in the next couple of years? Yeah, I think in any walk of life you want to go and play at do the highest level, of a job you work in. So I think for me it's just all about progressing up the stages and hopefully my performances on the pitch, can result in that reward, and that's obviously that's where I want to get to, and I'd love to go home maybe at the end of my career one day, say I've had a good career, maybe finish at St Mirren or whatever.
Yeah. Do you have international ambition? I suppose you could play for a few countries, can you?
Yeah, I played 21s for Scotland, had a few caps for them. I've always kind of wanted to play for Nigeria, to be honest, first team wise. So I think that would be, next for me. Whether I need to play at a high level for that, whether we get promoted or whatever. But definitely internationals, the next sort of big checkpoint for me that I'd like to get to.
Is Premier League the target for you?
Yeah, Premier League's the target. Certainly Rangers. That's my boyhood club, and they're a huge club. Premier League size. So even to play for them one day would be a real dream come true.
Yeah, and you spoke earlier about your independence. I was just thinking actually because I suppose, was it the first time you moved away properly from home when you came to Lincoln?
I'd moved away for like 3 months during the COVID season to Barnsley on loan from Scotland, but I was only playing under 21 football and stuff, so I was still a boy then, and I had a host family and stuff. So the first time I moved away myself, yeah.
Yeah. What was that like during COVID?
Yeah, it was a bit horrible. I went signed on deadline day, and then COVID was March, April time. So I was only there for a couple of months, and no one really knew what was going on. So I'd left all my stuff then and stuff, and ended up not going back, and COVID cancelled the season and stuff. So it was a bit crazy, but yeah, it was good experience to be. That was my first sort of taste of being away from home. So
now I get the feeling this is a very close-knit group of players, which is good. You have to have that, don't you, to be successful. Who are the lads that you're getting on with, and who are the pranksters in the dressing room and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I got on with Sean Rowan. He's probably my best mate here. Jack Moylan as well, and Dylan Duff. So it's Irish lads, it seems to be, but Scottish and Irish people get on. So I think the Irish lads get on with them quite well. A few of the younger lads as well. MJ, he's on loan at Peterborough Sports, but he lives around the corner from me here as well, so I'll get on with a few lads. There's loads of pranksters. Rico Hackett's a prankster. There's a few good pranksters in the change room, so yeah, it's a good change room, but it's pretty young, and we all get on really well, which I think is important. And I felt that when I first came as well, that it was really close knit. All boys have left and stuff, but it was easy to integrate into it, which is important, I think, for sure.
And of course, a lot of people know your agent, Anton Ferdinand, bit of a West Ham legend.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Yeah, so I played with Anton when I was 17. He took me for my first haircut at the barbers and stuff, so some mad stories there, but yeah, he took me for my first haircut at the barbers when I was younger. I'd never sort of I used to go to the hairdresser, I used to have a bit longer hair, so he took me for that, and we'd always sort of agreed that there'd be a point when he looks after me. It's his cousin Max is he's the registered agent, so Max Ferdinand and Anton, they look after me, and that we're a bit closer than agents. I've obviously played with Anton, I've known him, he's watched me grow up, and I think he used to say when I played with him, he's like, I see a bit of myself in you and stuff, good or bad. So I think that was good, and they've looked after me the past couple of years now, and they've done a lot for me.
So what was that like going to the barbers with Anton?
Yeah, it was good. It was me and Anton and Simeon Jackson, a lad I used to play with. They took me, I think he paid for it and stuff as well, so that was always good to get a free haircut, but no, that was good. It was good.
He was a quality player, though. I mean, having someone like that, someone who's played at the very top of the game, that must be so helpful.
That's important to have someone that's been like you before, that wants to get to the top level. And he got a few good moves as well, so it was good to sit down with him. We went for a bit of dinner a couple of years back with me, him, and my mum and stuff, and we all got on really well, like very close knit and stuff, like a family almost. So they look after me, and just keep in constant contact. He's doing dancing on ice, and so that'll be good for him. We'll see him doing that. That'll be funny. So good luck to him.
Is he any good?
I'm not sure. Yeah, he's a bit stiff, so I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what sort of advice has he given to you?
He just said, I'm pretty hard on myself sometimes. I'm my biggest critic. And sometimes that affects me on the pitch and training and stuff as well. So he just said to me, he's been through it all before, when stuff doesn't maybe go your way, but it's all about how you bounce back and how you react from that. And I think that's my biggest lesson from him is it's happened to people at the top level, and I'm not at that level yet, so it can happen to anybody. And it's all about bouncing back and recovering from that.
Yeah, and that's quite interesting because I've met so many footballers in the lower levels, even non-league, who actually at one point have been almost where you are, and they've ended up dropping down. So that just is a warning of what can happen if you don't continue doing all the right things.
Yeah, I think mentality is a big thing in football, isn't it? It maybe gets overlooked from the outside, but I I think we know within here that mentality is a big thing, and when you speak to older pros that have played at the top level, played in the Premier League and stuff, they tell you that, you know, if you're switched on up here, you've got a good chance. You know, it takes you a long way in football, and you know, that's sort of what he's trying to be home in on me and my, you know, my brain, and tap into my brain almost and get me to control all my emotions and feelings.
And can I just ask you, what would you say during your time at Lincoln you've learned most? What are the things that you're taking out of it right now?
Yeah, I've just learned a bit more about English football, you know, coming up against different people. Obviously, I've had a couple of gaffers as well, so I've learned how to work under different people, different assistants and stuff. Football's always chop and change, isn't it? So I think I've learned more of how to, I've matured a bit as well. I first came when I was 21, you know, worked under different managers and stuff. So I think for me, I've progressed and I've learned how to deal with stuff, and, you know, that football can change any time, and to, you know, train every day like it should last almost. And, you know, it's important to do that.
I just find out, you know, there's always speculation when you're doing well, of course, and there's lots of speculation about yourself. Clubs like in the Championship looking at you, for example. I mean, would you like to stay here for the rest of the season, or is it just, you know, you just have to see what happens in January?
Yeah, I think it's just have to see what happens in January. I think, you know, me, Max, and Jez, and, you know, people high up in the club sat down and spoke, and, you know, if someone met the valuation, then that would be a discussion. But there was no, you know, no rush for me to move. I'm happy here and I enjoy it here, and you know, as soon as that window shut, it was all about me getting my head down and playing, and it was. We also all agreed that, you know, the move was right for me. I'm not just going to jump at the first move that comes to me. I think that's important, and obviously having that good relationship with Anton and Max helps me along that. So it was all about, you know, finding the right move, and if someone obviously met the club's valuation, then there would be a discussion had. But, you know, I'm still here and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
And of course, this club is very well run. I mean,
yeah, it is,
I mean, just looking at the situation where I think it's one of the lowest budgets, or certainly the bottom half budgets, and yet, you know, seventh finish last season and doing well so far this season.
Yeah, club, very well run club. You know, it's you know that before you sign. You know, you want to go to a club that's well run from top to bottom. You get the personal feeling. You know, I met Jez and stuff in Glasgow, and, you know, he's obviously high up at the club and stuff, so you get that personal feeling, which is important at any club. And I think, you know, you meet the owners and stuff, and you see their philosophies and their what they're trying to implement to the club, and it seems to be working. So, you know, it's all about us implementing our stuff on the pitch.
And of course, when a club like this are trying to progress, obviously they haven't got the money of the Birmingham Cities, for example, and the Wrexham, so they have to do things another way. So the model is perhaps to develop players and then sell them later on. But that's actually good for players like yourself, isn't it, for young players? Because it really does give you a platform to perform and to develop. Yeah,
I think you want to go to a club that, you know, especially at the age I was 21, you know, I wanted to go to a club where the aim was not to maybe be there forever, but to certainly do well there, help the club take as high as we can, and then whether that be move on or get promoted with them, you know, that was certainly the aim. And they were pretty clear about, you know, like I said, someone meeting the valuation and stuff, and, you know, there was no, you know, nothing that I didn't know. So it was important. Yeah, it was good relationship with everyone. Yeah.
Away from the serious business of football, how do you enjoy spending your spare time, and what are your favourite sort of go-to places in Lincolnshire?
Yeah, I like playing tennis with a girlfriend. That's one of my favourites. So I like playing tennis. My dog is back home in Scotland, so sadly I can't walk her, but I like to go walks and stuff as well. So no, I like spending my spare time if I go back home, see my mates as well. So no, I like spending my spare time just being out of the house, really. I play PlayStation a bit as well. You know, you get to watch loads of TV and stuff, so it's bits and bobs, different stuff. David Lloyd's probably my favourite place to play tennis in Lincoln for sure, and there's a few nice cafes and coffee spots, so yeah.
So are you a big server or a baseliner?
Baseliner. She's probably better than me, she'd tell you. I'd say I'm a baseliner. Serve's probably my strongest part of my game, to be fair, so I like watching tennis as well, so something that I've always been into.
Yeah, I'm gutted that Nadal's just retired.
Retirement. Yeah, that's sad. But he's got Alcaraz now, hasn't he, coming up? You know.
Yeah. I did actually watch Federer's last ever match. You know, when he retired at the O2 Arena, went there and he played like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was incredible.
Nuts.
Were you Roger Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, or Andy Murray as a Scot?
Yeah, of course, Andy Murray, one of the greatest of Scottish sportsmen. You can't forget him. I think for me, Djokovic is the best, but you've got Sinner and Alcaraz coming up just now, you know, two young up and coming talents, so, you know, we'll see in the future if they can emulate what Djokovic did.